Norinchukin Bank is selling the US bonds, and they're selling as much as $63 billion worth of it. Now, is it a bad thing for the bank? Well, it's not, because it's actually going to reduce their balance sheet. But the thing is this, if more entities are dumping the US bond, the question will be, can the US market handle that? This is the main reason why I'm covering this particular topic. So disclaimer apply as usual. Now, let's look back what happened on the 23rd of May, where a failed bond bets at the Norinchukin Bank forced it to change their strategy. Now, back then, they were planning to raise 1.2 trillion yen, okay, about 7.7 billion US dollars of capital to reshuffle their investment portfolio after losses in the bonds holding. And back then, their losses has rose to about 2.2 trillion yen as the end of March 2024. Now, that's 1.7 trillion, that's 1 year ago. So the thing is this, they are not happy with this state, their current result. And of course, now we can see that they are dumping it, okay? They're going to dump out. Now, this entire portfolio accounted for about 56% of their overall portfolio. Now, this is a really big figure. And you can see right now, they have been buying a lot of bonds. So the question is this, why are they dumping? Because they realize that they are not making money out of it. Now, one thing to know is that you must understand now the BOJ, the overnight interest rate itself was very low back then or last few years, but now it has started to increase. And when that happened, you can see that the banks are not able to make money off it. And in fact, they are losing money instead. So now you can see what happened in 2022. They invested, they borrowed at 0.5%. Okay, fair enough. And then they invested. But now the thing is this thing has changed the other way, whereby you can see it's a flip. The cost has increased for them, and now their earnings is not there. So because of that, right, they are now losing money. They need to get rid of that. And once they do that, it's going to affect the stock price. Not necessarily. If you can see right now that the stock price is still doing pretty okay. So it's more of the traders watching the yen intervention. Now, if the BOJ do come in to intervene the yen, because it's now really at a very high price or weakness is there, then of course, right, if this continue, inflation will go into the picture, and of course, people will have some issue. Or this was the now the weak yen itself is going to be pretty bad. So you look at the Nikkei at the moment right now, right, you can see it has lost its shine. We know that the Nikkei has shot up quite a fair bit from the 33,900 series all the way to 40,000. And then there was some profit taking that was the normal. Now, 37,000 was mentioned for everyone that this could be a very important base support. And based on what I'm looking right now, I kind of believe that the Nikkei may have to test ground again. At the moment now, Nikkei is trading at 38,500. So I believe that there could be a 1,500 points pullback in the near term. And of course, that will come with the dollar yen, because you can see right now the shrinking economy, the Japan is definitely contracting. This is so something that you must understand that is happening right now, despite the stock market have just created the all-time high just months ago. And you can also see that the investors are all selling the foreign debt over the last 9 years. They are selling. The net selling is there because people are not comfortable to hold on to the US bonds. So if you look at the FDIC insured institutions, they are now holding lots of losses. And of course, we know that if this continue, right, there's a lot of banks in US will be in serious trouble. And of course, the number of banks that's on the problem bank list has increased once again. So that's the reason why we believe that now Jerome Powell and friends, they are not able to cut rate, because they know that if they do that, that will create a real butterfly effect across the board. And for Norinchukin Bank selling the US bond, it tells us that this is going to be one big problem. And now from the moving on the yen itself, there is a possibility that yen may go back to 160 level. Okay, there's a very high chance 160 level could be traded again. In fact, my target is 160.30. I believe that the dollar yen will be pushed to that level, and it can become a big issue, because a weaker yen is not going to help an economy that's not performing. And in fact, you can look at our indicator. It's pretty clear that we have the boys buying recently, and when the color changed over to red and yellow, that was a buy signal. So we believe that 160.30 should be able to be touched within the next 2 weeks. And of course, the Nikkei, as we mentioned to you, there's sideways at the moment now, but there are some buying from the boys. So let's see how it goes. But once we see the KSI turns to red, then I believe that the Nikkei will start to come down. And I say once again, we believe that it will hit about 37,000. That is a lower base, if not at least 37,500. That will be the level that we are watching this very closely at this moment right now. And last but not least as well, guys, the US market, please be careful because we believe that after the triple reaching last Friday, I believe that the market will go into some profit taking, right? With that itself, this is Cal signing off. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.